Good morning. This is Dylan Jovine with Behind the Markets. Happy Wednesday. Good Lord, I'm losing sight of the days. Today is February 19th. My goodness. And today I want to talk about something that is being very underreported, and it's basically why war with China is more likely now than it has been at any point in our lifetime, period. Or at least since the Korean War. There's no doubt about that. So in a very, very long time. And it really talks about something that's been very underreported, which is the U.S. State Department, the Trump State Department, Marco Rubio, has removed a statement on its website saying it does not support Taiwan independence. Remember something. For many decades, based on the Kissinger communique in 1972, the Shanghai communique, we had this policy, our agreement with them was saying we do not support Taiwan independence. Every administration has had that policy. Well, Trump has removed that policy from the State Department. It's almost like we're looking for a fight, isn't it? It's really interesting. And in the Wall Street Journal, February 14th, there's an editorial here, China's rehearsals for a blockade of Taiwan. The head of U.S. Indo-Pacific Command has warned about Beijing's plans. I advise you to read it. And the article talks about Sam Paparo, Admiral Sam Paparo, the head of U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, has said this week that China's, quote, aggressive maneuvers around Taiwan right now are not exercises, as they call them. They are rehearsals for the forced unification of Taiwan to the mainland. Now, this is very interesting that we're in this situation. It's very, very complicated here because it might be a reason why Trump is rushing to settle the Ukraine war in a really probably not a great way, probably telegraphs to Xi Jinping, depending upon the deal that Trump cuts with Putin, how well tolerated a move on Taiwan. It's like we're almost picking a fight with China. Well, we're certainly picking a fight with our NATO allies. We're picking a fight with Ukraine. We're making nice with Russia. But it's almost like very adversarial here. And by dropping that statement that we don't support Taiwan independence, basically you're asking China, you're begging them basically to make a move. Because this is, 50 years, 1972, 52 years of agreement and understanding that we do not support Taiwan independence. And Trump has removed that from the State Department website, which is really mind-boggling. So it's understandable why, from China's perspective, they've got to really rehearse a blockade of the first island chain. The problem for us, and most people do not understand this, in all the war game scenarios, what happens is China blocks the first island chain, which of course includes the Philippines and Japan. We're not going to let Philippines and Japan get blocked without us doing something. That's not going to happen. So there will be a war if China moves on Taiwan. There's just no two ways about it. They're treaty allies. And if we don't support treaty allies, then our word means nothing, period. So you can't do that. You got to support your treaty allies, period. No doubt about that. The problem for us is that every time in these scenarios, these war game scenarios, we move our ships in to try to punch through China's blockade. What happens is China on the mainland sends 20,000 drones at each one of our ships, even the USS Gerald Ford class carrier. And what these drones do, they're cheap $2,000 drones. They just fly these drones in to get our ships to shoot projectiles, bullets, missiles, whatever, to knock them out of the sky so that we exhaust our ammunition. This is what they're trying to do. Once we exhaust our ammunition, our ships are sitting ducks. The Pentagon refers to this as, quote, the depth of magazine problem. So this is a problem for us. This is why these losses look catastrophic in these war game scenarios. I mean, we lose 40,000 people in 5 to 7 to 10 days. It's unbelievable. In 13, 15 ships, aircraft carriers. We just run out of bullets because they're just sending all these drones at us. How do you solve for that problem? Well, one way to solve for that problem is by putting lasers on these ships, which is what they're rushing to do right now. Because the laser basically, when you fire projectiles at these drones, some of them cost $1 million a shot, $50,000 a shot, $10 million a shot, depending on what you're firing at them. But if you put lasers on your ships, you basically, because it's an energy source, you never run out of ammo, and each shot bang costs $1 a shot. $1 per shot. So they are rushing to get these systems on our ships. They are rushing to get these systems in the Middle East, where again, drones are just making all of our army and everything expend all of our bullets very expensively. So what we want to be invested in is companies that are really focused on this laser warfare. This is where it is going, ladies and gentlemen. Projectile, this is like some Star Wars stuff. So we have updated our War Games report really to include a laser company that we have in Breakthrough Wealth. I urge you to read it. This is the small company. There are a lot of big companies that do this, Lockheed Martin for one. But there are small companies that are really kind of the pioneers. And one of them just won a contract with the Navy, a contract with the Army. I mean, it's just winning contract with Israel to buttress its Iron Dome. I mean, it's just on and on and on. So there are going to be some very, very big winners as, unfortunately, the world enters a new cycle of war. And that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. The world has entered a new cycle of war, of great power competition and conflict. Let us pray it doesn't spill out into an open fight between us and China. There would be no real winners there, just survivors. It'd just be degrees of losing. Even if we got to a draw where we both punched each other in the nose, we would be the loser. They're the challenger. We're the champ. Even if it's a draw, we lose. You can't imagine what would happen to our capital markets if the United States wasn't seen as the world's #1 dominant power. Lots of things we have to concern ourselves with during this administration with China, because it looks like we are aiming for a fight right at the exact time we're alienating the most powerful assets we have, which is our allies. Remember, when you're China and Russia, you look at us and you say, gosh, the things that make you jealous that you hate are our alliance structure, our alliances. So to alienate that right when you're trying to pick a fight with China, Trump's a super smart guy, so I'm sure he has a bigger plan. But a lot of super smart guys in the world have gotten their butts kicked. So we will see. We will pray for him. We will pray for the United States. And I will see you tomorrow.